Her, Moneybag Yo, and Ari Lennox. Watch live on TikTok and listen on iHeart-Radio stations across America.
Peacock, a proud sponsor of iHeart-Radio's Living Black, celebrates Black excellence in raw, authentic storytelling in the new original drama series Bel Air. Executive produced by Will Smith and Westbrook Studios. Bel Air begins streaming February 13th, exclusively on Peacock.
Say go for the gold. You don't just want Wi-Fi that's fast. You want Michaela Schifrin fast. You want Eat My Powder, blink and you'll miss it, I ski faster than you drive fast. You want Wi-Fi speeds faster than a gig, power all your devices and watch every single wow-worthy moment fast. You want gig speed internet from Xfinity.
Watch Team USA with Wi-Fi speeds faster than a gig. Or get started with Xfinity 50 megabit per second internet for $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. This offer ends March 31st, so go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New Xfinity Connect customers only. Equipment taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After 1 year, regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires gigabit internet and compatible gateway. Gig speed Wi-Fi is shareable across all devices. Actual speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Xfinity, proud partner of Team USA.
So you can keep on keeping on while they help protect the ones that matter most to you. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for. Visit USAA.com/life to get started. Life insurance and annuities provided by USAA Life Insurance Company. San Antonio, Texas. All insurance products are subject to state availability, issue limitations, and contractual terms and conditions.
I'm Ed Sheeran, and this is iHeart-Radio.
All your favorite stations, where you live or where you used to live. And of course, virtually every podcast on the planet at your fingertips, and it's all free. If you don't already have it, download the free iHeart-Radio app today. iHeart. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
Cualquier otra variante del COVID-19, por lo que es importante usar mascarillas que limiten la propagación de forma más efectiva, como la N95, KN95 y KF94. Las mascarillas quirúrgicas o una combinación de una de tela y una quirúrgica también pueden ofrecer una buena protección. Para más detalles, visita covid19.ca.gov/ES. Un mensaje del Departamento de Salud Pública de California.
Teaching is creative, collaborative, intellectually challenging, and every day is new. See why teachers have better work stories by going to teach.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by teach.org and the Ad Council.
Nuggets for just $5, or get 40-piece chicken McNuggets for the whole family, and pair it with an any-size Dr. Pepper for just $1. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer.
To some of the world's greatest places, Europe and the Caribbean. Drinks, Wi-Fi, and tips are always included. Plus, for a limited time, save up to $750 and get flights from just $299 during their Journey Wonderful event. Call 1-800-CELEBRITY, contact your travel advisor, or visit Celebrity.com today. Offer expires February 28, 2022 and applies to select sailings. Savings vary on stateroom category and sailing length. Additional restrictions apply. Ships Registry, Malta.
And during times when they really can't speak.
Mm-hmm.
She says her gums are irritated.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you can do? Absolutely. You can try new Crest Advanced Gum Restore.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, new Crest Advanced Gum Restore. It detoxifies below the gum line to restore your gums back to health in just 7 days.
Healthy mouth.
Exactly. Healthy gums, healthy mouth.
New Crest Advanced Gum Restore. Healthy, beautiful smiles for life.
It's also something sweet for your sweetheart season. Or my favorite, wait, that's today's season? Or the just found out my kid has a crush season. Good luck, Mom. This Valentine's Day, Walgreens makes it easy to quickly get last-minute gifts with pickup in as little as 30 minutes. Because if it's Cupid season, it's Walgreens season.
Right now, select fragrances are 20% off. Offer valid through 2/26 while supplies last. Restrictions apply. See Walgreens.com for details.
Right. Ah, yes, the open road. Just you and your hunger. And if you listen carefully, you can hear what it's craving. Bacon. Extra bacon. 4 strips of crispy bacon stacked on a charbroiled beef patty with melty cheese. Satisfy your bacon craving with the Bacon Beast Burger or the Bacon Beast Burrito with melty cheese for breakfast. Try the new Bacon Beast menu from Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. Available for limited time at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Bacon Beast Burrito available during regular breakfast hours. Price and participation may vary.
Did the caller know your social security number or other personal information and tell you that your social security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your social security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information, or instant payment, email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at oig.ssa.gov.
$1,000. Además, los ganadores se llevarán $500,000 que podrían usar para comprar la casa de sus sueños. Empieza a jugar gratis en RocketMortgageSquares.com. Rocket Mortgage, patrocinador hipotecario oficial del Super Bowl 56. Compra no necesaria. Residentes legales de los 50 estados de los Estados Unidos y de DC. Mayores de edad. Finaliza el 11-2-22. Empresa hipotecaria igualitaria. Autorizada en los 50 estados. NMLS 3030. Las entidades de la NFL no patrocinan esta promoción de ninguna manera.
With extra shrimp or our wild-caught My Taco Plate as part of the 4-meal $10 special.
Join the anniversary celebration at Dos Coyotes every Monday through the end of March with one of our 4 most popular items for just $10 each. For more information about specials and locations, go to DosCoyotes.com. Have you had your dose today?
Your dreams. These things are none of our business. Your credit score, your true crime obsession, and whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m., that's really none of our business. Because your life is private, and unlike other tech companies, we think your internet should be too. Oh, is someone there? Oh, that's none of our business either. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-783-6199. That's 800-783-6199. 800-783-6199. Optima Tax Relief.
Why is Ice-T leading a tango class?
It's probably the heart-shaped Honey Nut Cheerios. He found out they can help lower cholesterol. Now he's having fun taking care of his heart in all sorts of new ways.
Let's see those hips move, people.
Hurry and get your heart-shaped Cheerios. They're only here for a limited time. The Winter Olympics are coming. 17 days of action, excitement, glory, and history in the making. Don't miss a single epic moment. The Winter Olympics continue tonight on NBC and Peacock.
At Disney on Ice presents Dream Big. Join Moana on her journey to believe in herself. Celebrate Miguel's passion for music. Discover the power of love with Anna and Elsa and be inspired by the Disney princesses. Your adventure is waiting at Disney on Ice. Playing Golden One Center February 17th through 21st. Visit DisneyOnIce.com for show details and get your tickets today.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Charlton of Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me. And people who love sports all fair and love awards today's show on a beautiful February the 7th, 2022. Proud of the boys in Bon Jovi and many beach fans. They say welcome to the show. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers. Home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the seventh in the world. You can buy and test drive your to tell them Charlton, Big C Sports Center, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars. Also, all around the world, we have the Olympics. Give the Olympics some praise. Come on, y'all. I said, come on, y'all, give me some praise. Not too many people in the stadiums, but they're still doing their thing. Today's show is sponsored by Northern California Cadillac dealers. You can follow Big C Sports all around the world on 23 podcast applications. Really do appreciate that. Google, Alexa, Spotify speaker, Apple Podcasts, iHeart-Radio Podcast, CastBox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, and number 10, if I can catch my breath, Pod Chaser. Give me some some praise. Come on, y'all. You try counting to 10. It's not as easy as it sounds. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on Gio Savon Podcast out of London, England, Podtail, YouTube, Upper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes Podcast, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, and then All Feeds AI. Give artificial intelligence some praise. Come on, y'all, give us some praise. When the computers take over, you won't have to hear me talk so fast. You can also follow Big C Sports all around the universe, streaming on 4 TV applications: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Give that some praise. Come on, give smart TV some praise. TV so smart, I thought I had a smart TV when I was in college. If I didn't pay the bill, it'd turn itself off. Isn't that something? If I didn't pay the bill, it'd turn itself off. It was smarter than I was. Give smart TV some praise. Oh, I really love paying homage to my family legacy. Man, talk about the Olympics. The Olympics, a family. My mother's side, my great-grandmother called her Mamo, just a wonderful person. Made sure we all had food in our belly and treated each other great. Really do appreciate that. She also had a moment and said, boy, go get me a Switch. And then my great-grandfather called him Pop, the patriarch of my family on my mother's side, former Negro League baseball player and known very well around the churches for making the best moonshot in the universe. He said, boys, get out of that barn. I said, get out of that barn, boys. I might get struck by lightning. Grandpa, what are all of these potatoes floating around these barrels for? Had so many barrels, we thought it was a Slim Big Blue. Oh, man. I guess I had too much Big C coffee today. And I also want to say my grandmother, Muddia, just a wonderful person, a seer, very intelligent business person, could tell you everything about a person just by looking at them. Really do appreciate that. Did a lot of good things for me in my life and still to this day. And then my grandfather, Hezekiah, just another wonderful gentleman. Really do appreciate all the knowledge that was passed down to my family. And then my beautiful mother, I'm telling you, a Head Start program. My mother started a Head Start program and a food program, and also helped win the Little League Championship of the universe. Give mama some praise. Come on, very smart, savvy, helping raise 7 kids, and start a Head Start program and a food program so people wouldn't go to bed hungry, and help win the Little League Championship of the universe. Give mama some praise. Really do appreciate that. On my father's side, always just the patriarch of the family, my grandfather, Albert Curry, had 2 service stations in Oakland, California. Also had 2 churches in Northern California. Oakland, California, built the 3rd church in Central California. Very smart, hardworking businessman. And then my grandmother, Alberta Curry, helping my grandfather with the churches in Oakland, also in Central California. And then the service stations, always trying to keep the family strong. Really do appreciate that. My father, retired Air Force fighter pilot, always saying develop your mind to its highest extent and making sure planes can fly high so we could all stay safe at night. My beautiful brother Top with his bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Top would speak. One of our favorite movies was Pulp Fiction, and he had that great saying that Vin Rames said to Bruce Willis, that stinking sensation you feel in the 4th round, that's just pride messing with your blank pride. Your butt goes down in the 4th round. And I think some football players got that same speech. I really do appreciate that. Always love paying homage to my beautiful daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. Intelligent, hardworking, a college graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university, would oftentimes help me set up for sporting events, bring coaches that come to the West Coast to get in line with Big C Sports. Really do appreciate that. My very handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe, a college student, very smart, hardworking. I'm telling you, can do anything he wants to do in life. Just remember, Wakanda forever. Never let anybody get in the way of you and your family. But always give me stats for NBA basketball, knows NBA basketball inside and out. And one of our favorite movies was Wakanda Forever. Really do appreciate that. And then Big C, with all of his wealth of knowledge in the past, really do appreciate everything that everybody's done to help Big C Sports become the #1 sports show in the universe. And you can Google it. When people start telling you how great their shows are, how many listeners do you have? Millions. if you look at how many platforms, when you put a name in to a podcast, if you put in Big C Sports Podcast, just type it in your electronic device by speaking. It comes up on iHeart-Radio, the #1 sports show. You can Google it. Just put in Big C Sports Podcast. It pops up #1, not number 5, not number 10, not number 37, out of 250,000 podcasts. No matter what anybody says, put the name in and let the computers do the work. Like in the old days, let your fingers do the, like what they say, let your fingers do the walking. Let your fingers do the walking. Let your fingers do the walking. All you gotta do, next thing is $100 million. Come on, y'all. Give us some praise. The Bible said you have not because you ask not. Come on, God. I'm gonna say these things because they're true. If you want something, just ask. We deserve the $100 million like anybody else does. There are people who've already gotten $500 million. For what reason? I love saying what my grandfather used to say when I was a young boy with his church friends that come home from the church and they go in the barn and say, let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show, FP Dominated, Big C Sports Podcast. I'm telling you, no scripts, no three-way teleprompter, no producer in my ear. I do the show with my higher self. I always honor God. Number one, I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast every show. All the sound effects are done by the platform that the agency gives out. We can all use word laughter and platforms in our life. Really do appreciate that. And then the commercials done. And then the stats providing the storytelling. The play-by-play is like you hear Steph Curry for 3. Golden State Warriors about to do their thing. Again, Golden State and Phoenix also fighting out for the best teams in NBA. The Lakers have a big game coming up against the defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. And then I upload the show. It goes out to 23 multiple podcast platforms and 4 TV platforms. Been doing Big C Sports since September 12th, 2015. And I know it's been a long, long journey, but things are just starting to grow. Just like planting a redwood tree. It can grow 300 feet tall, but it starts with just a seed in the ground. You keep watering it, let the sunshine hit it, and it tends to grow. And next thing you know, you can see it from the moon. That's what I'm thinking to do, man. Here's planting redwood trees some praise. Redwood trees can grow out of granite rock. Can't even grow grass sometimes. They're all fair and love and war. But I love the verses in the Bible that I love because I grew up hearing it. It's in Genesis chapter 13, verse 15. And it says, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. In the book of James, chapter 4, verse 2, said, we have not because we ask not. If you want something to just ask and give, asking some praise. Come on, y'all. I said, give him some praise. My pastor, over the weekend in church, had a very good message. He says, sometimes people don't want to go to church and give God praise. They want to sit there quietly like they're in a library, and they sit there and don't want anyone to get up and dance and shout and shake your body down. What did Michael Jackson say? Let's dance, let's shout, shake your body down to the ground. Okay, I don't mean to make anybody turn the stereo off, but people go to football games and baseball and basketball games. They dress up, especially Raider fans. They wear costumes, look like Planet of the Apes. What did Joe Rogan say? He went to some part of the country. And he said, my goodness, got off the plane, looked like Planet of the Apes. All these dark-skinned people. And Joe Rogan got blessed by Spotify with $100 million. I'm not racist. Where's my $100 million? It's coming. If a white man can use the N-word that he redacts from a podcast, and you had so many black guys going on this show, from Dave Chappelle to other guys that have been on the Joe Rogan platform, and he has so much empathy for people of color that I can't believe all these ends and look like Planet of the Apes when he got off the plane because there were so many black people there. And Spotify gave him $100 million. All that came from Africa, Joe Rogan, even your great-great-grandcestors. Is grandcestry a word? Ancestry, grandcestry, they were all what you call the N-word. The dark planet. At nighttime you can see farther in the universe. And in the daytime. What is it about the nighttime that God Almighty lets you see further at night when it's dark outside than you can see in the daytime? You can't see other galaxies in the daytime. You can see them at nighttime because the universe not lets you see more of it when it's dark, isn't it? That means the darkness couldn't get a job with the NFL. Come on, get out the phrase. That's a joke, but it's true. All fair love of war. But everybody has their own thoughts about things, and it's amazing how people want to know how you get places. You just got to be honest. Be honest of who you are. But it's amazing when we talk about the NFL and how it's hard for people to get a job, and you have guys like Joe Rogan, and then the thing with Whoopi Goldberg, and they're wanting to pull her off of television because of whatever she said. And then you have a guy who insults black Americans, and they knew it was out there because he had to redact some shows that had already been posted before Spotify gave him $100 million. And people do their research when they hire. Yeah, give that some praise. Give that some praise. He pulled it down. He apologized because he didn't want to lose all that money. But doing those incendiary things, saying those incendiary things, it did not cost him. He made money because you can insult anybody in the world as long as they're black, and people say, hey, well, nothing wrong with it. John Gruden got the $100 million by being racist, sexist, homophobic, and Joe Rogan got the $100 million, and what he did was so egregious, he had to pull it off of I guess he had it on some platforms. He had to pull them off. So that means when you redact anything, that means it never happened. It means it never happened. But Joe Rogan, Google his name. That's who Spotify gave $100 million to. But he insulted black Americans, the whole black race, which all life came from Africa. So if you look deep enough, you're black too, Joe. Everybody has this thing of we should all get along and equality and let's be the better person. But what is it about insulting black Americans that makes you $100 million? I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm going to finish doing my intro, but I'm doing some things different for Big C Sports in 2022. There's 3 twos in 2022. And tomorrow, the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Lakers, they play the Milwaukee Bucks, defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, give the Bucks some praise. Come on, they won a championship. Defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. And they call the MVP of the NBA Finals last year what Joe Rogan had to redact from his podcast. They call him, they don't say the N-word, they use a euphemism. They call him a freak. You know, the same thing a lot of men heard before they were lynched. And you're going to hear it on the NBA broadcast tomorrow. They may not do it now because I'm talking so much about it. But they will call a black man handsome, intelligent, beautiful brown skin. And these white broadcasters will pay their broadcasters money, buku bucks, to call a black man so that young black people all over the world can see. They will call him a freak. What's wrong with that? Well, it's just a freak. As I say, when someone's new child is born, go to the hospital and say, what a beautiful little freak. And see what the parents say to you. Oh, look at that baby. Oh, look at that freak. Look at that pretty little freak. Do that to white people. And see how many times they'll play it all over the airways. Because sometimes you can treat people so bad that they don't know the difference. And they'll start saying, yeah, I guess it's okay. People that use incendiary words toward people of color can oftentimes make $100 million. Do it against Jewish people or white people and see if you'll make the $100 million. I'm looking for it. Do it. Find it. Because they don't do it. They usually call Superman or amazing or intelligent or hardworking. What they're saying about Joe Burrow, who's played 2 years of NFL football. Oh, he's hardworking. He works so hard. Well, who worked harder than African Americans just to try to get half of what mainstream has had over the years? Oh, he works so hard. He's such a hard worker. A lot of athletes work hard. But when they're black, they say, oh, he's talented. He's very gifted. You don't even hear them say that Patrick Mahomes is hardworking. You hear them say he's gifted. He's very talented. They don't call him hardworking. You don't get to that level unless you're hardworking. He's very hard. A lot of men are hardworking. Oh, LeBron James, he's so gifted. King James, he's so gifted. He's hardworking. He works hard to build his body that way. He works hard. Oh, Steph Curry, he's a natural shooter. He's a hard worker. So here's a guy in Joe Burrow. They're already saying, you want to crown him? Crown him. Oh, he's so hardworking. Is he any more hardworking than anybody else who plays professional sports? Because if you're not, then they don't keep you around long. And I just want that to be known with Big C Sports. For all you sponsors out there, when you Google Big C Sports Podcast, look at how many places it comes up. I don't put it there. You got to have numbers to get there. You got to have the reach for different for 23 platforms. And I'm one black person. Oh, he must be hardworking. Or is it talented? Whatever it is, it is. And so when you hear the NBA game, I think the game is tomorrow with the Los Angeles Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to call a black man a freak for the whole world to hear if we talk about human rights in China with the Olympics. Think about how people plant seeds in the mind of young people. Oh, he's just a freak. Oh, he's just a freak. Oh, freak. He's a freak of nature. Do they say that about white women? Oh, look at that freak. Isn't she a freak of nature? They don't call white women freaks. Listen to any of the broadcasters, any of the athletes, they do not call white women freaks. Oh, that Barbara Walters, isn't she a freak of a broadcaster? You never heard that. You've never heard that. I've never heard it. Never called them a freak of anything. They always, isn't she hardworking? Isn't she intelligent? Isn't she erudite? But when you think about that, people start labeling you when you're a young boy, and it's easier to consider you less of a person. And now we have black men having a hard time getting a job in the NFL, the league that's dominated by black men. Oh, they're just freaks. Who would hire a freak? So for any person that says, oh, I don't see anything wrong with it, neither do the men that don't hire freaks. If that's what they feel that you answer to. I don't answer to that. And if it wasn't so bad, then why did Joe Rogan have to pull episodes where he said that when he was in an all-black environment, he felt like he was in the Planet of the Apes? Because he's so dumb, he doesn't even realize that the dark gene is dominant. The light gene is recessive. The dominant gene can reproduce the recessive gene, but the recessive gene cannot reproduce the dominant gene. That's Mendel. Dr. Leakey, when he was looking for the origin of man, he went to Europe, but he didn't stay long. Traced the origin of man back to Africa. You know, those apes. Look at the hair on black people. It's curly. The hair on apes is not curly. Look at yourself in the mirror, Joe Rogan, before you shave. What color is your hair? What texture is it? Is it curly or straight? Apes do not have curly hair. They don't have afros. They have straight hair. I mean, some things are just so egregious that you can make $100 million by insulting black Americans. And then you have intelligent people like Big C Sports that you can't do that crap here. Give me some praise, because I'm going to check you. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. But I don't have to redact anything from my shows, and I've been doing this for 7 years now with the Big C Sports Process. Give that some praise. Couldn't believe it. He had to redact some shows because he used the N-word and we called black people apes. And he don't even know where he came from. Spotify didn't do the research. Big C Sports is also on Spotify podcast. I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones or electronic devices and say play Big C Sports Podcast and give it some praise as it pops up. Felt like he was in the Planet of the Apes. What does that mean? If you look at the ape skin, pull the hairs up and see what it looks like. It's amazing that people like that can go on to make $100 million. Why? Doesn't make any sense. I also want to say the world that Big C Sports is venturing into for 2022 is I was talking to a sports agent over the weekend. He used to play football for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's a sports agent and works with name, image, and likeness, and just talked about some of the things that goes on in the world of sports. I've known many of them for over the years, but sports agents in 2021, they created contracts worth over $41 billion. That's why Big C Sports is being, I'm being pulled into it. I've always thought about it, but I was talking to an agent. He said, man, Charlton, you cover sports anyway. You're very honest. I mean, there's so much money on this side of the business. Why don't you look into it? Called a sports marketing agent. I thought you had to be an attorney to be a sports agent, but you don't. I got educated. By who? A black man. That I don't call him freak. I call him Mr. Very smart man. Millionaire. Not a freak. So they probably won't give him a job on television because he speaks highly of himself and he knows his history. I just want to be a part of helping lift up people, all people, but especially those who look like me, because I understand the 1619 project. All life is important. We all come from the African continent, every single person. Slavery is not the first time black Americans were on the American continent either. I know a lot of people don't understand that. But this is what I'm also saying for young men who are venturing into the world of sports. When you think about it, how the world's leading sports agents closed contracts totaling more than $41.2 billion in 2021. Think about that. It's so important, and I love talking about it because oftentimes that world is so hidden where oftentimes you'll just see that black men are told you could be an athlete, you can shoot home run, touchdown, three-point play, but then in 2021 netting nearly $2 billion in commissions, including several deals that are within the striking zones. You hear that, striking zone? Like a baseball strike? Strike, you're out of there! Of $500 million for baseball players. Nearly that amount is out there. And when you're an agent, you get a percentage of that money. And so for a young African-American man, and you see how black coaches are being treated, look into the sports agency also. When you think about in 2021, baseball agents negotiated between 2020 and 21, negotiated 13 contracts in excess. If you got to really hear this number because it's so important. These contracts were in excess of $100 million. 5 were in excess of $200 million, and there were 2 in excess of $300 million, and a total about $3.2 billion for clients. It's out there. One of the top sports agent generated commissions of over $160 million. In 1 year, his agency did that. There's no athlete that made $160 million in 1 year. And when I was talking to gentlemen that talked to me about it, I said, Charlton, this is where the money is. It's not about getting hit upside the head playing football, basketball, and baseball. It's out there representing athletes. If you're an athlete, you only get your one salary. If you're an agent, you represent multiple athletes. No one says it's easy, but struggling is not easy either. How about struggle holding on to $100 million? If you're going to struggle at something, and that's why you have so many black coaches getting in line, asking someone, can they pay them, please give me an NFL coaching contract so I can make $3 million or $5 million. And you have the top sports agent that's made $160 million. They're not begging these owners for a job. And you know who's making them the money? Black people. You know, the same ones that Joe Rogan criticized and had to redact what he said on his own podcast platform because he got flack for it. Isn't that something? It was so egregious, he had to pull it down. So that means you never heard it. It didn't cost him $100 million contract. So that's why a lot of black men have said over the years, people love you when you have a uniform on. And when you're saying, touchdown, home run, play. I love you, man. I love you, bro. I love you, bro. Hey, can you sign my kid's t-shirt? Can I get an autograph for my wife? Please? Mister? Can I get a picture? Please? And you have, think about it. I'm going to talk about some of the coaching hires, but there's so few black men that even have the opportunity to be a coach. And that's not where the money is. When you can have, look at the Forbes magazine. It's in Forbes magazine, the world's most powerful sports agents. You can just Google it. You can go back over 10 years. The world's most powerful sports agent, they make their money by signing African Americans. So how can we get more African Americans to be sports agents and sign ourselves and quit begging for jobs? Quit begging for the Rooney Rule. Give that some praise. $160 million. Most of his clients are black. And we have coaches begging, please, can I please get a job when you fire me after 2 years? Or 3 years with a winning record. And people say, isn't he worried about his future? It's going to cost him. He's never going to coach again. And there's several sports agents. I think even you can go down the line. There's like 10 of them that made over $40 million in 2021. And many of them are black. One black man controls over $4 billion in contracts. $4 billion with a B. You think he's complaining about the Rooney Rule? They won't give me a job. They won't hire me. They only want to hire white guys. The guy controls over $4 billion in contracts. You think he cares about the Rooney Rule being usurped? Where Jerry Jones said, well, once we get rid of Mike McCarthy, I really have Dan Quinn. That's the guy I really want to hire. How does that Mike McCarthy feel? Think about that. When Brian Flores is being flown up to the New York Giants, and Bill Belichick already leaked out that they had already hired another white guy. You think these top black sports agents are begging and crying about the Rooney Rule? No, they're just being smart. They're saying there's so much gold in them their hills that Joe Rogan calls Planet of the Apes, as he has black men sitting on his podcast and don't even know that he's insulting them and their entire family. Because some people don't read. But when you think about it, these sports agents, I think if you look at the NFL draft back in 2020, I think I might be wrong about the number, but of the top 10 draft picks, half of them were represented by African Americans. You know, the people that Joe Rogan called Planet of the Apes. And Spotify gave him $100 million. You think any of those black sports agents that control $1 billion, some of them up $1 billion in contracts, are they knocking on the doors of these men who don't want to give them jobs saying, please, 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 I've been an offensive coordinator. I've been to 4 AFC championship games. I've been to 2 Super Bowls back to back. I, in fact, coached in the Super Bowl 55 as the offensive coordinator, and I have a resume that's good enough for the job. I was a head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals and made the playoffs 8 years and got fired. I took the Detroit Lions to the last playoffs and got fired with a winning record. They haven't had a winning record since he left. You think those guys are begging these owners to please give me a chance? No. They understand the sports agency, sports marketing agents, that's where the real money is. And ironically, when you got to do it, you can go to someone who looks just like you. As Joe Rogan would say, like Planet of the Apes. That's what Joe Rogan calls black people. And the place that has so many ends, I thought I was at Planet of the Apes. And for that, Spotify said, we're going to give you $100 million. And some praise. Just a thought. You got to know your value. If you're not, someone's going to determine the value for you. So sports agency, where Big C Sports getting into. Also, I really appreciate, been talking about sports betting since the Supreme Court opened up betting and made it legal. Sports books are making so much money. It makes you wonder why. Even African-American coaches are being told, if you throw a game, I will pay you $100,000 for fixing games. Black man said no. You know what they said? You're fired. Sports betting is big, but like Steve Mariucci said, former NFL football coach, now TV analyst, if you know anybody who's in over their heads, please get some help. You gotta get some help. We all know, we tell people take away the keys if somebody's drinking and driving. You gotta figure that out. We all know when you're getting over your head, you gotta need some help. Call 800-GAMBLER. That's 800-GAMBLER, and you want to get help. You don't want to have too many problems. Also want to say thank you for our Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. If you know anyone going through issues, pick up the phone. Call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and they will stand on their head to make sure you get some help and give that some praise. Our first responders, they need the praise because they're the ones who are saving lives. All we got to do is pick up the phone and make the call. So I really do appreciate that, being a part of all of that. Everybody knows life is fun when you have people trying to help you get through things, and that just means a lot to me to be a part of the broadcast to get that out there. I also want to say thank you to Budweiser Zero. I'm telling you, Budweiser Zero, it has 0% alcohol, 100% honest game. Sports fans, when you're watching the big game in Super Bowl 56, you want to eat the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat. And a ram and a Bengal tiger are exotic meat. I hear it tastes gamey. A ram and a Bengal tiger are exotic meat. Give that some praise. Super Bowl 56, the Big C game. And when you watch the Super Bowl 56, make sure you have the Big C coffee. It's a tasty coffee, and people often say, man, why does the cup have to be so big? It only comes in one size extra large. The Big C coffee coming to a stadium near you. Really do appreciate that. Tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hands, as most things do. Gonna talk about some things that are coming up in the sports, and when I come back, I'm gonna take a slight Big C pause. And when I come back, I'm going to talk more about what's going on with the NBA schedule. It's a light schedule. And then I'm going to get also into the college basketball power rankings, Big C style, giving some praise in the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, he also played Terminator. He walked into the police station and he was asking for a guy. They said, we haven't seen him. He said, I'll be back. Well, I'm not going to run into his building, but I'll be back. All right, we're back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe. You can get live on 4 TV applications all over the universe. There's so much happening. You know, there's a thing called NBA basketball. Are you ready for some basketball? Of course you are. Tonight's schedule is not very big on Monday, February the 7th, 2022. Black History Month, really do appreciate that. But you have Toronto at Charlotte, Miami is at Washington, Phoenix Suns, they're at Chicago. What a game that should be, already on NBA TV. And then the Golden State Warriors, they're down south at the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the Golden State Warriors, the Splash Brothers doing their thing on the road. And then you have the New York Knickerbockers at the Utah Jazz at the Wasatch Mountain, already tipped off. And the game I was talking about tomorrow, about Giannis, the defending NBA champion, Giannis Antetokounmpo, they play the LA Lakers in Los Angeles at Crypto.com Arena, and that will be a TNT podcast. Hopefully, they will pay homage to black men and not call black men freaks. But, you know, sometimes if you don't correct people when they call you out of your name, then oftentimes it just won't change. It won't change things. I was talking about some things with the black sports agents, and how that's become a world that you can make more money as a sports agent, a sports marketing agent, than you can as an NFL head coach. Now, NFL head coaches, they hire, exploring results that have happened with this world of diversity or a lack of diversity. NFL, everyone's hoped that the story would get better. Since the days of Fritz Pollard back in the 20s, became the first African-American a coach. That's before all the other politics got involved. We didn't even have civil rights then. But it just takes good people. How do you raise someone not to be sexist or racist or homophobic? That comes out of the parenting. And some people have jacked up parents, so they're going to have a jacked up personality. But when you think about it, you think about some of the developments for black men getting into coaching. When the NFL kicked off the playoffs, for 2022. Only Mike Tomlin was the African-American coach. And Ron Rivera and also Robert Saleh, they're men of color. And for the New York Jets and also the Washington Commanders, I believe that's their name. I might be wrong about that. They've had 3 different names in the last 3 years. But when you think about it, the Dolphins hire Mike McDaniel. Think about it. Head coaches and the turnover, all 9 vacancies are now spoken for. Just 2 of them by people of color. The Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, and the Texans, Lovie Smith. Now, Lovie Smith coached the Bears to the Super Bowl before they had lost to the Indianapolis Colts under the great Tony Dungy. Now, McDaniel, who's a multiracial, and Smith joined Rivera and Robert Saleh and Mike Tomlin as the league's only minority coaches. When you think about it, we talk about Flores, what he talked about, his owner, the ownership group for the Miami Dolphins, telling him to do something illegal, which is to throw games. To throw games. It's illegal. Imagine you paying your hard-earned money to a bookie expecting you're at least going to get something fair. And you have owners of sports teams saying, throw the game. If not, you're fired. And they fired him. So we think about the description of what we try to figure out. What is it that's going to make people want to do right? The top of the league is controlled by men. Caucasian men. Does it mean they all have jacked up parents? Were they born in racist households? Sexist households? Only one woman ownership exists. That's for the Buffalo Bills. And you think about this. Did they have really bad parenting? It couldn't be for the people that make the money because the NFL is very diverse. 75% men of color. There's so much people talk about frustration of trying to get a job. Should it be an embarrassment for the team owners to realize that they're being so discriminatory in their hiring practices? Bill Belichick sending a thank you note to our text to Brian Flores saying congratulations on the job. And Brian Flores says, I haven't even had the interview yet. That's coming up this week. He said, oh. So was he trying to let him know that the Mara family is also practicing shenanigans? So when you think about minority candidates in front of the owners, and will they even have a fair shake? It's a failure of leadership. And each owner says minority representation is an important issue for the league. But few of them apparently believe that making a black man the face of his franchise is what's best for their team. Now, think about this. Robert Saleh, the head coach of the New York Jets right now, he was the defensive coordinator when the 49ers won the Super Bowl. And they lost that game to the Kansas City Chiefs. It was Super Bowl 54. And then you look at Lovie Smith. He was a coach for the Bears when they were in the Super Bowl versus the Indianapolis Colts. Lost to Tony Dungy's team. Mike Tomlin, he won a Super Bowl as a head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then Mike McDaniel was part of the 49er organization when the 49ers also went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Kansas City Chiefs and also just went to the NFC Championship game. So they come with pedigree that has win. I want winners. I want people who want to win. Unless you're the coach for the Miami Dolphins, then you're paid to throw games. I want people who want to throw games. I don't want winners. Maybe he makes more money on the backside of the moon, if that makes sense to you. But we'll see. But think about every one of these owners, these coaches, men of color. There are more black men as sports agents in the top 32 than there are black men as head coaches in the NFL. Think about that. And the top ones are making more money by hiring guys who look just like you. You know, the guys that can't get jobs with the NFL? They're not begging to affirm the action. They're becoming sports marketing agents, and they're representing black men to help them get the money. So anyway,
we'll see what happens with the league. And we're going to have, I believe, 2 women are going to be part of the officiating crew for Super Bowl 56, I believe. But I do want to just think about something, because whether you deal with black general managers, head coaches, coordinators, there's some very capable people. And as well as the funding of a committee to source black investors to take minority ownership stakes. Now, on Saturday, the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, they got to fix this Pro Bowl game too. They're just playing touch football. It was better when they played it in Hawaii and they actually let people tackle. But I understand there's too much money at stake to be tackled. It's just for, I guess you could call it just a display of fan appreciation. No one needs to see them play hard like they do in the NFL anyway. But either way, be that as it may, Roger Goodell sent a memo to all 32 teams that a lot of those guys use to swat flies. That's funny. Hey, thank you, Roger. Save money on fly swatters. What did Gordon Gekko said to Tom, was Charlie Sheen, when he said, "Happy birthday, Gordon Gekko." And Gordon Gekko took the birthday card and he put it in the shredder. And he said, "What do you got for me? Bring me something I can use." So sending a memo out to these people is almost like sending out a memo to someone after the damage has been done. Discriminations happen since 1619 because some people come from some jacked up parents. There's some screwed up parents that got pregnant and had kids. Whether their kids turned out racist, sexist, misogynistic. It's not just about racism, it's about sexism too. How many parents have raised kids to go out and assault women? How many women have said, "Oh, we're tired of hearing all this racial equality and Black Lives Matters. Just go out and try." And then they deal with sexual assault and black men and black women stand up for them. Me too. Me too. Laura Ingraham says, "Shut up and dribble." White woman. They paid her $15 million to tell a black man like Joe Rogan. Well, Joe Rogan, he called black men apes in the N-word, and he got $100 million from Spotify. Laura Ingraham tell black people, she told LeBron James, "Just shut up, boys, shut up and dribble." And they paid her $15 million a year. What did she say to those women who were sexually assaulted by the men at Fox News that got fired? Just shut up and take it? You know you wanted it. Why'd you wear the high heels? Why was your blouse so tight? Why was your miniskirt so short? Why were you walking the way you were walking? You know you must have wanted it. What man would take advantage of a woman if she wasn't asking for it? She had to tacitly consent. Look at her wearing the lipstick. See, there are always knuckleheads in every environment. But it doesn't mean we gotta put up with it. Some people don't like what I say. And sometimes I don't even like what I say. But you can still Google. I just want to be factual. Like Walter Cronkite, just the facts. What facts? The facts as I see them. But if I think about it, with the NFL and the entire sports, think about this. The entire sports universe is going to pay attention to Super Bowl 56 in beautiful Southern California, where commercials cost $5 million to watch black men run around. Or as what Joe Rogan said, looks like he went to Super Bowl 56. I thought it was Super Bowl 56. I didn't know that I landed in Planet of the, what did Joe Rogan said about black men? Planet of the Apes. Still got him $100 million. Google it. But that's unacceptable, or is it? Because Roger Goodell, and he's trying, he said that the league would also retain outside experts as well as solicit input from current and former players and coaches to assist in reviewing the league's diversity policies and initiatives. Roger Goodell has no power. The emperor has no clothes. Those owners could get it, they could kick his butt out of the league. He didn't send anything they haven't already approved of. So with the NFL and the whole world gathering for Super Bowl 56 for this upcoming week in the media day festivities that will go on Media Row, you have Flores and the lawsuit. The league's hiring practices will certainly be topics of conversation, just like sexism is a topic of conversation. But how long have women had to deal with sexism? in sexist behavior, in misogyny, in homophobia. It's nice to say we're going to address it. And I mean, all I can do is appreciate the man is trying. He can't do anything on his own. He's going to try to bring attention to it. So the whole world's watching now. We talk about what's going on in China with human rights, and we went to the Olympics anyway. It's not what you say, it's what you do. Oh, we should not be racist. We should not be sexist. We should not support a country that has human rights violations. Remember apartheid, where people pull out of South Africa? Anybody pull out of the Olympics? Winter Olympics? United States of America? Land of the free, home of the brave? It's all important. Everybody has their own opinion. But it's a topic of conversation, and we'll see what every owner hopes to do about it in the future. You think about how opportunities come when you have tough conversations. From what I heard, childbirth is tough. But for some reason, women continue to do it anyway. But I hear it's painful. Not for the men, but for the women. But women do it anyway. They keep having children anyway, even though it's painful. But look at what comes out of it. Something beautiful. Many conversations are painful. People know if they're good or bad. People know that. They know if they're good and they know if they're bad. Sometimes the dirt will come out in the wash, but people know if they're doing things behind the backs of people that they wouldn't not do in front of that person. Because they know if they're full of crap and if they're not. Every relationship has that. Every business dealing has that. It's all there. People know if they're good or bad. And when they think they're on top, they can become egregious or incendiary. But they got to realize, too, they may be on the bottom eventually. Everybody wants to be on top, and everybody wants to be significant. So when we think about we need a more young, diverse group of coaches, that would help. And last year's Super Bowl, we had diversity in the coaching staff. Even Bruce Arians hired a woman to be on his staff. So things take time, but it takes conscious people, because people who are cruel, or sexist, or racist, what's passing a note going to do to a guy who's sexist and assaults women? What is reading a note going to do to him? What is reading a note going to do to someone who's racist? And they still have a company give them $100 million. Or a coach who's racist, or sexist, or homophobic, and he still has an owner give him $100 million. They just happen to be white. So what's going to make them change? Nothing made them change until they got exposed. When they got caught, that's what made them change. Joe Rogan didn't take the stuff down until he got some feedback from it. John Gruden didn't get fired or resign until people found out about it. That's the only thing that's going to change it. What kind of world do we want our kids to grow up in? Dr. King said, I have a dream that people would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. If that's the case, what's the character of the ownership groups in the NFL that still discriminates against people of color and women? What's their character? Roger Goodell can pass all the letters he wants to. But I think, as far as I know, and I don't know everything, people have to be willing to have uncomfortable conversations in front of the person that they're putting down, not behind that person's back. There are times, like my pastor says, he's dealing with so many marriage counselors, or people come and want to get a counseling on their marriage, and people sit down and start complaining, oh, my spouse does this. Oh, my spouse does that. I can't stand my spouse because of this. I can't stand my spouse because of that. And the pastor says to the other parent, the other spouse, okay, what do you not like about your spouse? Oh, my spouse doesn't do this. Oh, my spouse doesn't do that. Okay, so what part is your fault? Oh, none of it's my fault. I'm perfect. It's all that person's fault. But when you point the finger at somebody, by nature, there's usually three pointing back at you. And the thumb points up in the air. For those who haven't lost that thumb through gambling. If that makes sense to you. If you haven't lost your thumb through gambling, some people don't understand that. But if you think about it, there's nobody who's perfect. Life, I saw this thing that I want to just close with today. I saw it, someone sent it to me on social media, and there were people standing in line like they're standing in line for Super Bowl 56. They were standing in line to wait for their turn. But in standing in that line, there were hordes and hordes of people standing in line waiting to get in. But they were all ascending into the clouds. It was the day that God called them home. You can't get out of line. You can't give someone else your place in line. You can't go to the front of the line. You can't go to the back of the line, because the story that was sent is God has a date and time for all of us to go home. So how many people are you going to treat like crap before you're called home in your place in line, like you're going to a game or in a music park? How many people are you going to hurt before you're called up? How many people can you not say I'm sorry to before you're called up? Because people are either good or bad. God sees all of it. This comes from my pastor and something that I saw on social media. I think atonement is good. All we got to do is, like Michael Jackson said, look at the man in the mirror. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking them to change their ways. You can change your ways too. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sing like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? Ali would say, I'm so pretty. I'm so pretty I can't possibly defeat, because all these big cheeseburgers make me light on my feet. That's why I'm always rumbling, and float like a butterfly, singing like a bee. We all gotta rumble every day. My beautiful mother always says there's never evidence for racism or domestic violence, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through that crap, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no one should ever have to deal with that. As we always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking them to change their ways.